It's the anti-checker.
We will return to your scheduled programming shortly, or we are currently experiencing technical difficulties.
Hey guys. Oh man. So Michael J. Crawford, the anti-tracker here again. I'm really torn on this. And here's the thing. I'm not drinking or anything like that because of the film, not directly, as much as my anticipation over the coming battles over the film. So Mr. Captain saying, "Holy crap, Discovery was awesome." I don't know. I probably won't get to Discovery tonight, but which I'm sorry, but I think that it warrants talking about for a few minutes on Captain Marvel. So, Mrs. Anti-Trekker and I literally just got home from the theater. So, unfortunately, I mean, the show was scheduled for 7. The cinema didn't start it until late, so we didn't get out of there until like 9:40. It's now, and so then we had to drive home, and it's like, there are 2 after-credit scenes. And I will say this. The first after-credit scene is a direct setup for Endgame. The second one is just silly, and it is funny. It's definitely worth seeing. It is a little bit of a retcon, but it is really funny. So, I have a feeling that I'm gonna piss off a lot of people, and that I'm gonna be having to go to the mat with a few people that I love and care about. But I'm gonna have to do it. So, I'm just going to come out and say it. Captain Marvel was a good movie. It wasn't the best Marvel movie, but it certainly was not the worst. Captain Marvel honestly only had one major flaw to the film. Now, I'll start out by saying this. I would give Captain Marvel a score of a solid 7.5. Now, that is a good score. All right. So, I'm saying it is that good. Okay. The film has one main weakness, and that weakness is named Brie Larson. I think that it is an incredible shame that not only and it has nothing to do. Yeah, Mike, I'm not getting into heavy spoilers here. I promise. It has nothing to do with Brie Larson's antics in interviews, her feminist crap. No, it has nothing to do with any of that. She was just not good for this part. She was a horrible pick to be Captain Marvel, which is a real shame because the movie was solid. Every other character in the movie was solid. I will tell you, Nick Fury was awesome. What's her name? Monica Rambeau, awesome. The Skrull Kree thing, awesome. There was I honestly the weak point of this movie is the title character, and that is such a shame because it's not even the story that's the problem. It is just you're right. It's a wooden performance. Coulson was fun. Coulson had a couple of good moments in the movie. I tell you, the one thing that it's kind of a mixed bag with the visual effects. On the one hand, I gotta say that Nick Fury's de-aging process is amazing. I mean, yes, when you first start watching the film, and by the way, Nick Fury, unlike prior de-aged characters in Marvel, Nick Fury is not some be in a couple of scenes. He is the buddy in a buddy cop story of him and Captain Marvel. So he is in a lot of this movie. And when you first start watching it, I think that when you first see Nick Fury, he's like, whoa, that's Samuel. How did they? Wow, Samuel Jackson looks different. By the end of the movie, you completely forget about the fact that you're looking at someone who's digitally de-aged. So as far as that effect, it's incredible. That being said, Goose the cat was fake looking. So that's the flip side. Now, Robot Shlomo says just got back from seeing Captain Marvel. So bad, so very, very bad. I have to disagree with you, Robot. And that's the thing. I enjoyed this film for the most part. The only thing I really just couldn't, I just didn't like was, it was Brie herself. Some of the visuals, mainly revolving around the cat, were a bit iffy. But if they had gotten a good actress, and I'm sure Brie is great in whatever she won her Academy Award with. I don't know. I've never seen her in Jack, so I don't know anything about her acting ability. But I know that in this, she was laughably bad. Her vocal fry was so annoying that I am seriously considering doing a super chat just about that. Seriously, it's like her vocal fry is horrifically bad. And which is such a shame because everything else about the movie was spot on, good stuff. Yeah, the last act needed some work. The last act needed a tightening up a bit. I think that they kind of went overboard with the hero character gets now gets control of their powers and can unleash, and they kind of dial it up to 11 a little bit. But Brie Larson was such a bad choice for the lead because if she was not the lead, if you had someone who was really, really good to be in that part, man, this could have been an awesome film. I don't know how she got this part. I don't know what the director was thinking. I don't know what the casting agency was thinking. And I get what you're saying, Robot Shlomo, because if what you're saying is kind of just more or less an exaggerated version of what I am, is that, the movie itself was good. And in fact, I think you're right. I think that, now you made me forget her name, but yes, Katie Sackhoff, that's who you were thinking of. I think Katie Sackhoff would have been much better. I think that it's a tough part to play. I'm not lying. That because she has to be a character that can come across as a badass, and I'm not, here's my sexist statement of the night. It is harder for a woman to come off as an ass kicker than a man, because Emily Blunt would have been a good pick. If you saw Emily Blunt in Edge of Tomorrow, you could definitely see her in this role. I'm not sure who Yvonne Strahovski is. But yeah, Black Widow doesn't go well. Black Widow is not in the film. So yeah, Michelle Rodriguez. Well, if you would have to do a little ethnicity bending, which I know I personally do not support that kind of thing. But I like Michelle Rodriguez. Don't get me wrong. But Captain Marvel is, at least the Carol Danvers iteration of Captain Marvel is supposed to be blonde, white, classic, like, girl next door looks, right? So, and Brie sort of kind of fits that bill. I do think this is laughable, though, and I'll say this. And again, this is not a spoiler review, but there's been a lot of talk about Brie's body doubles. And I gotta say, it was hilarious how obvious the body doubles were. Because every time there was a shot of Captain Marvel from behind, she had a butt. However, every shot where they showed her from the front, she did not. The body double was hilarious. You could also see how obviously padded the suit was, which was, and even with the padding, the suit was like baggy and hanging up. And so, yeah, she had the chest was obviously exaggerated. Her hips were exaggerated. It was, they were doing everything they could to try to make her look more feminine. And because, here's the thing, a feminine shape is a curvy shape, and Brie Larson has no curves. I mean, we talked about that the other day on my live stream when we showed the picture of her in the thong. It's pretty obvious that Brie Larson has no curves at all. And, but here, here's the funny thing. I know you say you should have hired a black woman. Well, so some of you know the story of who I think they should have done this movie about, which is Monica Rambeau. Monica Rambeau was Captain Marvel when in the 70s and early 80s. She was part of the Avengers. She was kick-ass, and she was black. But Monica Rambeau is a little girl in this film. But her mother has a major part in this. And I did like you can definitely see they're setting up so that Monica Rambeau will show up in the current Avengers lineup as a new Captain Marvel. And I'm totally down with that. I am absolutely down with that. Hey, Daniel, how you doing? But Monica Rambeau, her mother, I can't remember her mom's name now. It's like, it's going to mess me up. But she was definitely much curvier than Brie, and so they tried to do everything they could to. It's funny because as much as they tried to make Brie look curvier, they tried to hide her curves, and I think for the reason that they didn't want her to, to look bad. And what's wrong with petite athletic girls? Absolutely nothing, Surf. However, I'm talking about if you're and by the way, Zachary Levi is not playing Captain Marvel, John. He is playing Shazam. They did change the name of the character, but I don't think Angelina Jolie would have worked. It's a tough one. I mean, honestly, this is a tough one to cast. But this is the problem in England, DG. Yeah, you kind of nailed it. Women can't be strong and sexy; they need to be flat and bitchy. That's kind of what they were going for here, and which is a real shame, because if Captain Marvel had emoted more and been a more interesting personality, man, this would have been an awesome movie. I probably would have given it an 8.5 or 9 out of 10. It would have been up there with some of the other really good Marvel origin films. But because of the casting of Brie Larson, because of Brie Larson's inability to show any emotion whatsoever throughout this film, it did drag it down. And in fact, here's, kind of the irony of it, which is that it's a major, and I mean a major part of the plot, that she is supposed to try to struggle and control her emotions because her emotions keep, getting in the way and she can't control her. And she has no freaking emotions. So that's the problem. And I don't know, England. I know that I know that sounds you're coming across as I'm sure you're being sarcastic about her talent level. I have never seen Brie in anything else. This is the only thing I've seen her in, and if the fact that you after seeing this, people say, yeah, she won an Academy Award. I'm like, really? I mean, really? What about the chick who played Seven in BSG? She can emote at least, but I don't know. I can't remember her name. She was a model before she did BSG. She, I think, has an interesting look, but I don't know that she can do the ass kickery. That it's a very physical role. And that's the problem with a lot of it is that like every time she got physical and the body doubles were on, it was pretty obvious you were looking at a different person. But yeah, Trisha Heffler, I think it is. But yeah, so what's my X out of 10 rating? I gave Captain Marvel a 7 out of 10, or 7. I'm going to say 7.5 out of 10. It was really good, except for Brie Larson. And that's the problem. That's what we're talking about right now. The Achilles heel of this film was that they miscast Captain Marvel herself. Now, they did make a couple of retcons that I think were unnecessary, and I'm not a big fan of retcons. One is completely, well, I understand why they did it, probably for time reasons more than anything else. But yeah, you're a hater. And I'll say this. Do you have to see the film? No, but if you, I gotta say it's not a bad film, England. And I'm not going to boycott a film just because Brie is a raving lunatic when she's not on screen. Because you know what? If you're going to judge whether you're going to see a film based on the political opinions of the actors, you should never see another film ever, period. End of story. Good night. How about the cat? The cat was fun. The cat definitely got the biggest laughs in the film. And I will say that but here's the thing. Here's what I think is interesting about the critics. Because I know that a lot of the haters, and when I say haters, I mean, it's just people that really want this film to fail. People that have been making video after video about how, oh look, this movie's gonna fail. Oh, the projections are down. Woo, that kind of thing. Because I don't root against the success of the project. I want it to be good. But so a lot of these people have been getting on the critics, or have been like salivating because the critics' reviews have been mixed at best. However, the reason they're mixed is obvious, and that's what I mentioned this the other day, and a lot of people thought I was freaking nuts and poo-pooed me, but I believe I'm 100% right on this. The reason the Captain Marvel is not getting critical acclaim is because while yes, this is a female positive film, right? A feminist film, if you will. It is not, I repeat, it is not a hit you over the head, women are good, men are bad, feminist propaganda crap fest like The Last Jedi. Okay? This is not, this movie actually has strong women and strong men. And that's one thing I appreciate. They did not dumb down Nick Fury. All right. And and I don't want to give any spoilers, but there are two other male characters. And in fact, they did something that is so rare in Hollywood these days, and I applaud them for this because it is insanely rare. We saw a genuine, loving, good father in this film. I cannot tell you who that character is without giving a spoiler, but there is a really positive father role model in this film. And that is so rare in Hollywood. So they did not dumb down the men. They did not make the men subpar to elevate Captain Marvel or to elevate the other female characters in this film. But however, they did put some very strong women in there. They did make a point about the fact that, okay, this is in the 90s. These women are bleeding edge because they're fighter pilots, and that was a pretty rare thing, and blah, 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 blah. That being said, they didn't constantly just hit you over the head with women, women, women. No, they point it out once or twice in the film, and that's that. They don't have to beat you up with it. And I truly, truly appreciate that about this film. The people that have been detracting from this film since, for the last 6 months because Brie Larson won't shut her freaking mouth about her stupid feminism, sure, I'm with them as far as Brie Larson needs to shut the hell up. Brie Larson is crazy. However, and what I've been saying all along, that is not the film. So, what about the lady who played T'Pol from Enterprise? Tried to think of alternatives to casting. The problem is when you're thinking of Star Trek actresses, unless they're on Discovery, they're all way too old, and nobody on Discovery would fit the bill. That's a problem with trying to find a good actress to play Captain Marvel. I don't know who the best choice would be for Captain Marvel, but I can definitely tell you it was not Brie Larson. That's my big problem. Andy Checker, Bird of Prey says, if you don't watch STD tonight, at least watch the previously on tonight. Why? Just that part? Is it that epic? I don't know. So you watched Captain Borvel starring in the Kitty Cat, the movie, and his buddy Nick Comic Relief Fury. I'll watch a little bit of Trek just to satisfy you guys, but give me a few minutes. But yes, I did see the movie, Luke, and I actually enjoyed it. So, man, you guys are all like, oh, you got to see the first 3 minutes of Star Trek Discovery. All right. Let me see here. Jeez, you guys just... What a bunch of jerks. I tell you, I have like the meanest audience ever. All right, let's see. What can I do here? I need to move this. And then we'll move this. All right. And move this over here. So bear with me. I'm getting things in position here. CBS helps if I can spell CBS. That's pretty bad. And make sure that is muted, and we'll look at the first couple minutes. All right, that's from The Sound of Thunder. Whoa, England DG throws $20 into the chat and says farts. What? You said farts a few times now, England. Are you okay? I mean, granted, here's the funny thing. I don't know if Brie Larson is capable of farting. Don't you need butt cheeks to be able to fart? I'm just saying. Join late. What's the verdict? For me, shockingly enough, I enjoyed the film. And so I gotta say, me and Mrs. Anti-Checker both came out with the same basic opinion. Wow, that was actually a lot better than I was expecting. So, and I will say though that the freaking Brie Larson was such a bad choice to play Captain Marvel. That was the worst part of it. And that's the sad fact that the weakest thing of the entire film is your main, not the character, but the actress playing that character. England farts in your general direction. Well, England always farts at the United States, but England DG is farting specifically at me, and I guess he's mad at me because I am defending the movie. The verdict is manslaughter if you Briette or wait. Yeah. Sci-Fi Sith says, please read my... You guys in my... Read my... All right, let me see. Antricker, if you're going to watch STD, get your bottle ready to get drunk. That bad, huh? Does Fury lose his eye? Yes. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to say how. Don't ask me. But yes, you find out how Fury lost his eye. And the you also find I'm not going to give any major spoilers. I'm not giving any plot things. I will say this is the worst retcon, and it has nothing to do with the plot. It's completely unnecessary, and I don't understand why they did it. They have Fury and Coulson running around constantly saying they're agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, it was almost like they were trying to do an advertisement for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. every time they said it, because they said it just, Nick Fury and Coulson were agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, they said that over and over and over. But the name S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't show up until Iron Man. I know Iron Man was the first movie of the MCU, but remember, they were calling themselves the Strategic Homeland, blah, 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 blah. And at the end, they figured out that, hey, we could just call ourselves S.H.I.E.L.D. But yes, that I thought was stupid. So basically, the film is meh, but since your expectations were so low, you were pleasantly surprised, even though they turned Nick Fury into a joke. I don't think they turned Nick Fury into a joke. Nick Fury was not out of character in this film. Now, he was, and in fact, he is really the only human to be able to, I mean, well, see, I can't give any spoilers. Nick Fury has some good moments in this film. They do not dumb him down, and that's something I actually liked about it. So, yeah. But yes, I like the Marvel films. And I've yet to see a Marvel film that I thought was a bad film. However, yeah, the Shark is definitely out tonight. I have yet to see a Marvel film that I thought was a bad film. This one, I would say, is just right at maybe slightly above average at best. Right at the average point. You think Nick Fury farts? What? Are you talking about? England, thank you for the $20, but I have no idea what you're talking about, my friend. Are we talking MCU Marvel or pre-MCU Marvel? I'm not sure what you mean there, Fred. This film is obviously part of Marvel. I thought Age of Ultron was very ordinary. I agree. I think Age of Ultron, of the Avengers films, Age of Ultron was clearly the weakest. I would say Iron Man 3 and Thor 2. I would also put Incredible Hulk all below, significantly below Captain Marvel. And I would actually put Iron Man 2 below. Actually, Iron Man 3, it's like, I would put it right up, probably on par with it. I put Iron Man 3 and Captain Marvel, I put somewhere towards the middle of the pack. One of these days, I'm going to have to rank all the Marvel films, because I could be way off. It's actually like, fourth from the bottom, and because there have been so many Marvel movies. Incredible Hulk did happen, Hulk 2003 too. Actually, Hulk 2003 is not a part of the MCU, but Incredible Hulk is. What about Punchy the Wonder Cat's part in the movie? Punchy the Wonder Cat was a lot of fun. So I actually, I enjoyed Goose the cat, but yes, I kept thinking of Punchy the Wonder Cat, and the thing is, there's some spoilers about Punchy the Wonder Cat that I'm not going to give away here. But if you've read the comics, which I'm sure most of you have not read Captain Marvel comics, but if you do know that her cat, you know the joke, but it's in the movie and they do it very well. Zachary wants to know when I'm going to review SCD. Well, I'm going to take, because you guys demanded it, I am going to watch the first couple of minutes of it right now. However, what I'm thinking of, hey, Aunt Trigger, what did Mrs. Aunt Trigger think of the movie? She actually liked it. And I'll tell you, she does not like, like she thought that The Last Jedi was horrible. She really, so don't think that she's like, oh, she liked it because she's a girl. She thought it was a good movie. But like me, she agrees it's not one of Marvel's best, but it's definitely not one of the worst. And no, Enderman, I'm not going over you. I was actually looking for something there. Sorry. Let's see. Tonight's STD, I really don't know what to think about. It's just tons of blah blah. Look the cage, blah blah. Spock, blah blah. Yeah, no. Oh, there it is. Oh wait, you guys can't hear that, huh? There we go. Let's unmute that. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Enderman, a little something just for you. All right, so, but yeah, careful on spoilers and trigger. Midnight's Edge had their stream struck by copyright. Wow, which stream? When their Captain Marvel review or their Star Trek review? It's so quiet, like my real mind when I'm working. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, that's actually what it sounds like inside of Enderman of Doom's head. Enderman of Doom, for the longest time, was the craziest person to ever set foot on in our chat here. However, he has actually been surpassed by Alexander, who unfortunately is not here right now. But Enderman is still remembered as the first truly insane person to be in our chat. All right, so let me hit the mute button here, and I will take a quick look at the opening minutes here of Star Trek. Also, talking about the Bela Shark is far more interesting than talking about that movie. I don't know. I know there's a lot of people that don't. I gotta say, don't hate on the movie unless you've seen it, and give me something other than Brie Larson sucks. Because I agree with you, Brie Larson sucked. But aside from Brie Larson's acting, I thought it was a really solid movie, and that's why I knock it down to a 7.5, because it would have been much, much higher had they hired a good actress, or at least an actress that fit the part as Captain Marvel. So basically, because it's a Marvel movie that's not in the same continuity, you think it's not a Marvel movie. Fascinating. No, I said it's not in the MCU. The Marvel Cinematic Universe began with Iron Man in 2008. That is the first MCU film. The 2003 Ang Lee Hulk film is a licensed Marvel film. I believe it's actually a Universal picture, but actually so is the Incredible Hulk, but it's considered part of the MCU. But it is a licensed Marvel film, sure. So are the Blade films. So are the Sony Spider-Man films. So are the old really crappy Captain America films and the Hulk TV show and all that. Yeah, those are all Marvel, but they're not part of the MCU. So yeah. Have you seen CBS Access entry to the show? No. Let's see. Andy Tracker, no notification. Of course not. And I can't skip back to the video. Why is it? What is up with that? I keep changing the stream options, and it keeps turning the DVR option off. I got to figure out why the heck it's doing that. I'm sorry about that, Mr. Miles. I truly am. So, all right, all right, so now give me a minute here. I'm gonna watch this here. Let's take a look. So I'm starting it right now. I see the CBS All Access screen. Oh my God. Uh, uh, Why? Why did you make me look at that? Oh, man, I was having a good day. Captain Marvel was better than I was expecting, and you make me look at that. I hate you all. Oh, my God. What? Wow. Ugh. All right, so I know some of you are like, wow, Anti-Checker, what's wrong? So let me... This is the introductory shot to the freaking episode. I'm... Anger doesn't even begin to describe how I'm feeling about that. Because... Oh, it gets better, huh, DJ? All right, so... Isn't that a good thing? No, here's the thing, Mr. Miles. It would be a good thing if I thought for 1 minute they were going to actually, do something with the original. All right. I'll try to watch a couple more minutes of this. Let me switch back so that I don't get a copyright strike. So they're showing lots of clips from the cage. They're showing, like, all these clips, like, this is... I gotta say, the transition effects that they're doing is actually pretty cool. But the fact that this is an insult to the fans... Why are they showing this? Why are they showing this? Are they just trying to rub in our faces the fact that they've screwed with continuity so bad? Okay. Like I said, the transitions that they're doing here are actually pretty cool. But let me show you guys something real quick. So here's one of the transitions in progress here. You can see, like, they moved the background digitally behind Pike and Vina here, which is actually pretty cool. What's the name of the video I'm watching? This is the latest episode of Discovery, Mr. Miles. This is, and so we have this shot from the cage. And we see Vina here. And, okay, so now we get our classic look at Jeffrey Hunter as Captain Pike. And, which, okay, cool, right? And so what do? Yeah, that's the same guy. Kick the tribble. That... You guys, I thought nothing could ruin my mood because I actually enjoyed Captain Marvel. I thought that, hey, today is going to be a great day. I know they're using, I know people like Mr. Miles says, well, at least they're using some of the real Trek footage, except that they are insulting it by then trying to say that this is the same universe. Anti-Checker, please read my last. John, thank you for the $100. By the way, for those of you that don't know, anytime you ask me to read your last comment, you are committing to give $100 a month to the channel. These are the Voyages of the franchise ripoff. Its 5-year mission to get you to accept a paywall like good pay piggies. Yes. Oh, man. You haven't read my comment? Go up and read. All right, Enderman, but this is the only time. I don't like going back and reading comments, especially when I'm trying to recover from seeing that. What'd you say? Enderman, Antitrick, I don't give a crap about the don't hate the movie without seeing it. They tricked me with that before, and I saw The Force Awakens. I won't be tricked again. Well, I understand, Enderman. If you choose to give up on the MCU because of rumors and innuendo that it's gone full SJW, you are certainly within your rights to do it. But don't try to tell me that the freaking Marvel Cinematic Universe has gone all SJW if you haven't seen the movie. Yes, Brie Larson is a batshit crazy SJW. There is no denying that. But that does not mean that Captain Marvel, the movie, is. And I'm sorry, and I'm not mad at you, Enderman, but I do take issue with the idea that, oh, Marvel is ruining. Marvel hasn't, you know what? Marvel's made 20 freaking movies, and they've all been at least good. And a lot of them have been great. And then, because they get some actress that wants to run her mouth about her politics, everybody's going crazy, not because of anything that Marvel's done, but because of what we've seen in Star Wars and Star Trek and Doctor Who. It has nothing to do with Marvel. Yes, Lucasfilm and Marvel are owned by Disney, but Disney does not call the shots at Lucasfilm and Marvel directly. That's the whole point of the way that Disney does things. They buy studios that produce good content, and then they say, you know what, keep producing that content. Unfortunately, that backfired on them with the Star Wars franchise, but it's really paid off for them in a big way with both Pixar and Marvel Studios. They're not sitting there telling Pixar and Marvel Studios how to make their movies. So, so as far as the MCU, if you don't want to see it, I'm fine with that. I really am. But don't try to tell me that that Marvel has gone in some crazy social justice agenda thing, because they haven't. And here's the thing, Enderman, you're right. You mean to be on the alert all the time. If we aren't, they destroy another effing beloved franchise. That's fine. But boycotting a film isn't the answer if you don't know what's in that film. And I would much rather see movies like Captain Marvel than The Last Jedi or Ghostbusters 2016 or Star Trek Discovery any freaking day. Because you know what? There is, and we have all been saying this, and this is time to pay the damn piper. It is time to put up or shut up when it comes to this. Because we all sit there and say that we support the idea of strong female characters, just not this batshit crazy stuff that we're seeing in certain franchises. Well, if you believe in that crap, if you really mean it when you say that crap, then you damn well should be seeing Captain Marvel and seeing how it can be done well. Even if the main actress isn't a great choice, the movie is good. So don't just judge it because it's a strong female movie. Because if that's what you're going to do, and again, I'm not picking on any one individual. I'm not saying you've said this, Enderman, but you just kind of launched me into this. But if that's what you're going to do, if you're going to say that any movie that has a strong female character from now on is some SJW agenda thing, then you are exactly what Steve Shives says you are. You are exactly what the producers, what Ryan Johnson says you are. Because if you're going to reject the movie out of hand without seeing it because you're afraid that it has a strong female character in it, therefore it might be something you don't like, then you are, in fact, simply boycotting a film because of a strong female character. And that is exactly what these far left progressives say that we are. And so, and by the way, Luke, when I say strong, I don't mean Brie Larson. I mean Captain Marvel as she's written. Okay. Brie Larson was not a good fit for the part. I am not denying that whatsoever. That being said, the film is good. The rest of the characters around her are all outstanding. She is really the only weak link of that film, which is too bad. And what happened to Doctor Who? Doctor Who? Oh man, Chief, you don't want to know. So yes, Discovery showed the TOS Enterprise, and they showed Jeffrey Hunter as Pike and Leonard Nimoy as Spock. Oh, and let me say something real quick. And this is actually a big positive for Captain Marvel. And I gotta say, I didn't know they were going to do this. This was a complete surprise to me, and it was beautiful. It was one of the best moments in Marvel cinematic history, and I am not exaggerating, even though it's not a big deal. Here's the thing. We've all seen the Marvel logo 1,000 times now. The Marvel logo is a very cool cinematic logo. It's very recognizable. And in the later iterations where they show scenes from the different movies, it's awesome, right? They one-up themselves on a level that was so beautiful, so poetic, and so I got goosebumps watching it. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen on film. And I wasn't, oh man, it was so great. So let me describe the Marvel logo to you. It was the same Marvel logo we've seen in the last few films, except that they did not show Captain America throwing his shield and Thor throwing his hammer and Iron Man flying up. Instead, all the little clips, every single one of them were all, and I mean all, of the Stan Lee cameos. It was beautiful to look at. And then at the end of the logo, it just said, "Thank you, Stan." It was so beautiful. I don't care who did it. That alone was worth the price of admission for this film. That logo was pure, absolute, gorgeous. It was, I loved it. So I forgot to mention that when I was talking about the movie. And yeah, if nothing else, that was incredible. England DG throws another $20. You're feeling generous tonight. Thank you, England. I truly do appreciate it. It says, no, what I'm going to say is that if their marketing teams allow them to run their mouths and that you found it okay, so you thought it wasn't as bad as you thought it would be, I wouldn't give them the box office dollar. I will give you that the marketing on this film has been less than stellar. The problem is, I don't know how the hell you would. Here's the problem. I think that Kevin Feige and the rest of them realize what a dud Brie Larson is. Not Captain Marvel, but Brie Larson. And there's no way to market her character. Because you know what? What you see in the trailers of Brie Larson is what you get in the film. You get that damn vocal fry. You get no expression. There's like 2 or 3 scenes in the film where she actually does smile. And those are the few moments you're like, oh, it's getting, oh, no, I guess not. And so I don't know why they did it this way. And I think they realized that there was no way to market this film. So I think in a desperate attempt to get butts in the seats, because they knew they couldn't do it based on Brie Larson's performance, they stooped down to the, hey, it's a girl movie, and to try and market it that way, which I think is a shame. They shouldn't have done it. The whole her hero thing, that was dumb. That was absolutely dumb. Captain Marvel feels like a freaking filler episode to me. Why should I care? What is there that I should absolutely watch before Endgame? Well, she is going to be. In fact, I'm not going to give the spoiler, but there's definitely a direct lead into Endgame at the end of this film. I'll just say that. And you could say that about all the origin films. You don't have to watch Doctor Strange, right? You don't have to watch Black Panther. You don't have to watch any of the origin films. Heck, you don't have to watch Spider-Man Homecoming. However, that doesn't mean they're not good movies. You're right, they're filler. Well, technically speaking, every single film in the franchise, except for the 3 Avengers films and Captain America Civil War, is filler. Night Breeze throws $21 into the chat. Thank you so much, my friend. And says, the Bird of Prey Jeep won a day in France and a shot. You got it, my friend. And so let me unmute that thing so that I can do that. And boy, I know I've been going on some tirades tonight. Let's get in here. Oh yeah, it's not a mega chat, it's a bird chat.
Captain's log, stardate 44307.3. I'm preparing to leave my shuttlecraft for Pentaris 5, where I've been asked to mediate a dispute among the Salinite miners. A contentious group, unfortunately prone to violence. But first, I must deal with a situation of a far more personal nature.
What better way to get first-hand experience?
Captain, I'm picking up a general distress signal from Bird of Prey 5.
On screen.
Feel the fire, feel my love inside you so bright. There's the sound and the smell of love on my mind. I'm your toy, come play with me. Say the word now. Wrap your legs around me. Ride me tonight.
My love is a fever, longing still for that which longer nurseth the disease.
I'm a man, I'm a goddess, I'm a man, I'm a virgin, I'm a man, I'm a blue movie, I'm a man, I'm a bitch, I'm a man, I'm a geyser, I'm a man, I'm a little girl, and we'll make love together. This sounds very pedo-ish.
In faith, I do not love thee with mine eyes, for they in thee 1,000 errors see, but 'tis my heart that loves what they despise, who, in despite of view, are pleased to dote. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate.
What? Oh my God.
When I have plucked the rose, I cannot give it vital growth again. It needs, must wither.
Why are you saying these things? Music to make love to an old ladybug.
You wonderfully jealous fool, you.
Wow, well that's basically rape. That is rape as a song. Congratulations. I gotta go turn myself in.
Oh, what is this? A female of the skunk persuasion. She is so stunning, I must...
Hey, what are you doing? Stop objectifying that cat.
What is this? She is Le Cat? Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not know.
Oh, what? Because she's a cat, she's not good enough for you?
No. But we are not even the same species, so...
Oh, so now you're cat shaming.
No. I am just...
Get him! Get him! Oh, so objectifying women and cat shaming is not bad enough? Now you have to make fun of the disabled? Jeez. And thank you so much, Nightbreeze, for your generosity. I do truly appreciate it. And, oh, I forgot to switch cameras, so over here. Thank you, my friend. I know you're just trying to get me drunk, but I'm not going to let you take it that far. All right, so I apologize for the tirade here, but I do think that we need to, as nerds and as people who genuinely do not believe in the bastardization of our franchises. While none of us, I don't think, should be defending Brie Larson whatsoever, if you check out Captain Marvel, and if you don't want to see it in theaters, that's fine. When it comes out on Netflix, or if you buy the Blu-ray or whatever, if and when you see it, we need to genuinely examine it and give it a fair shake, rather than just reject it out of hand because we're perceiving something that may or may not be there. England throws $50 in. Thank you, my friend. I don't know what's going on with you, but I truly do appreciate it. This says they pass you a tepid fart and you respond, "It was okay." It was not okay. Studios should not feel it allowable to use marketing campaigns to rail upon the fans. It is not okay that they allow a feminist trope marketing. You may accept this. I will not. You know what, England? I think that is a very valid point, and I would, and here's the thing. I know it's a tough one, because, and by the way, DJ, I think that's a valid point. That it's like, okay, well, Brie Larson, I have not seen her Academy Award winning performance. I don't know if it was really any good. I've never seen Brie Larson in anything other than this film, and she was bad in this film. I'm not going to lie. However, I think the film as a whole was good. I think that the marketing was bad. Now, that being said, are there films that have been badly marketed before that have been good? Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow is a prime example. Edge of Tomorrow had some crap marketing, and it was an awesome film. And unfortunately, it really suffered the consequences because most people didn't bother to go see it. Com check. Can anyone see this? Yes, Nicole, I see you. Sorry, I'm more composed than this. I was just speaking with my frustrated heart. That's cool, man. And it's okay to express our frustration. And I'm down with the abject rejection of for example, the whole her hero thing that they did in the marketing. I had a big problem with. I really, really, really don't like that. And so I understand what you're saying, England. I do. And I agree that the marketing was horribly done. But and maybe it's just because of the way that I look at film and the way that, because everybody examines it a little differently. I understand that marketing is not done directly, for the most part, by the people who made the film. Right? The trailers are cut by companies that are hired just for marketing. And I'm sure that, like I said before, that they were desperate to try and figure out a way to make this movie appealing, because the main character is utterly flat from beginning to end in this film. There's only a couple of shots in the entire film that she emotes, and you couldn't use those shots in the trailer because it would give it away. Hired by who? Well, obviously by the studios, DJ, but here's the thing. You hire a marketing company because they have a reputation for good marketing, but they drop the ball and put out a crap marketing campaign. And like I said, I'm not saying that that Marvel and Disney have zero culpability with the marketing. But what I am saying is that I generally don't put a lot of stock into the marketing of a film. Because if you have a talented enough marketing team, you can make a crap movie look good. And if you have an incompetent team, you can make a good movie look like crap. The problem is that to market Captain Marvel, for the only way to make this movie look good would be to almost show none of Captain Marvel herself. If you look at the film, there's a lot of really good stuff in here. It's just that none of it really involves anything coming out of Captain Marvel's mouth, because every time she says something, it's really annoying. It's naive to think Iger doesn't have more vested interest in what specifics SJW and MCU are doing. I mean, he was photographed outside the Millennium Falcon. Of course he was. What does that have to do with anything? It's Mercer. You know what? I would take a photo outside of the Millennium Falcon, and I don't like The Last Jedi, but I still think the Millennium Falcon is a badass ship. All right? And I'm sure that Disney says, Disney owns these properties. They want to try and push them, and they got to work with what they've got. It sucks that the Star Wars brand has been tarnished, but they still have to try and polish that turd as much as they can. I think, honestly, I understand where there's a lot of frustration. I get it. But I also think that it is wrong. And the irony of saying it's better than I thought. Well, Luke, yeah, I was, the trailers drug it down for me. I was not, honestly, if I was not doing this channel on YouTube, I probably would have skipped this film. Mrs. Antitrekker was down to skip this film, and I've never skipped a Marvel film. But it didn't look good based on the marketing. And so I understand if someone, can you do that voice a bit more? Which voice are you talking about? Are you talking about the vocal fry, or are you talking about something else? But the thing is that I was wrong. I admit it. But I also said multiple times before seeing the film that I'm going to go see it with an open mind. That I want to see if the if the film is really as bad as the marketing makes it look. Is it really as bad as some people on the internet? I'm not picking on these guys, but they just have. I'm sorry for Enderman for missing comments, but you guys are commenting a lot, and I've got a lot of things in front of me on the screen, so I apologize if I missed you there, Enderman. It's not intentional. But why do you think the problems come solely from the actress? Well, I would say it's not solely the actress, in that I will say this. It's Brie Larson's performance coupled with the director. The director obviously thought her performance was satisfactory, and so I would be I'll be straightforward honest with you. I will be surprised if this director has much of a career at Marvel. Now, remember, Marvel knows when they have a star on their hands. When they had the Russo brothers do Winter Soldier, they were like, oh, crap, we need to take advantage. So they immediately signed these guys to do Civil War. They immediately signed these guys to do Infinity War. They knew they had gold with the Russo brothers, and the Russo brothers are outstanding directors. I will tell you that the directing of this film, and this is coming from someone who knows a little bit about the behind the scenes and how a film is put together, not stellar. Okay, now granted, the director also was a co-writer on the film. The writing was better than directing, so she's a better writer than she is a director. The directing was, to me, it felt a little just out of film schoolish. And that tells me a couple of things, and this is a real problem in Hollywood, and this is not just limited to Captain Marvel, but this is a problem in Hollywood. Brie Larson is an Academy Award-winning actress. Now, I know, to you and me, we know that's bullshit. We don't care, right? But in the industry, that's a meaningful thing, right? So people that win Academy Awards suddenly have levels of clout that they don't necessarily deserve. Versus well, let's take a look. I don't know, because I don't want to make things up. So let me take a look at something real quick. And by the way, I do see that England, you're crazy tonight, but thank you. I'm going to read your thing in just a moment, and we'll give it. But I want to finish this thought. Okay. So let's see. We need Captain Marvel, and there's actually a reason for what I'm doing here. Yeah, I don't care about the countdown. Okay. So Anna Boden is now she has 10 directorial credits. I'm looking at her IMDb page, and I'll bring it up right now here for you guys to see. There we go. And so she has the directing, obviously, Captain Marvel, Room 104. She's done an episode, that's a TV show. Billions, she's done 3 episodes, another TV show. The Affair, 2 episodes of that. Mississippi Grind, whatever the hell that is. The Big C, 2 episodes of that. It's kind of a funny story. Sugar, Run, Young Rebels, and Have You Seen This Man? Her career is nothing. All right? She is granted, this is more success than you and I have had in Hollywood, but this is not a prestigious director. This is a nobody that directed a couple of films early on and then digressed into doing niche TV shows. And then they pulled her to do Captain Marvel. Okay? Now, they rolled the dice with her. I think it was a mistake. I will be surprised if all of a sudden she gets a career like the Russo brothers at Marvel. And I'll say that you will have a legitimate point about if Marvel has something behind the scenes as far as an agenda, if she starts getting film after film with Marvel. Then I would start questioning the motivations behind Kevin Feige and the rest. Anyway, so England throws another 50 and says, I give you more than I would have spent to see the movie. Think about that. I do not defend the hatred and spite that they spit at fans of the actual comics and films. Very true. First Star Trek, then Star Wars, then Star Trek again, now Marvel. This is a pattern. I will say this. When you're talking about the things Brie Larson has said, I agree with you 100%. Now, I personally, and I'm only speaking from my own personal experience here, I've not heard anything from what's her name, Anna Boden. I never heard of her until tonight, so I don't know jack about her. I've not heard her out there talking about how horrible the fanboys are or anything. Brie Larson, yes, she runs her mouth, and someone needs to wash out her mouth with Gordon. That's absolute truth right there. However, again, and I know I've said this a million times, but and try to understand England, if you seriously want to call into question whether you'll see a movie based on the politics of the star of the film, then you might as well not ever see a movie ever again. Because with very few exceptions, Hollywood is SJW, focus. That's the thing. You go to Hollywood, if you're at an awards show, if you're at a party or whatever, that's what you're saying. You're saying how horrible all the sexists and misogynists are, and all that crap. And I don't care about that. And yes, Doctor Who is a great add-on to that list of your. I agree that it's a genuine problem. Did you see Carol Danvers having weaknesses to experience physical or emotional struggles, having difficulties to beat her enemies, any sort of arc and not character flatline? Yes, Luke. I just didn't see it very well acted. Carol Danvers was actually kind of a failure up until the end of the film. And so, yes, she failed multiple times in this film. Nick Fury, who is just a normie, right? He doesn't have any superpowers, but guess what? He was just as effective as her up until she suddenly found her mojo. And Mrs. Antichecker called this out, is that, that whole thing with her, if you haven't seen it yet, but at the end of the film, she figures out how to control her emotions that she never showed, but apparently she had emotions, and her power dials up. And that's no different than what we saw in Thor Ragnarok, with Thor losing his hammer, not knowing what to do, being kind of worthless, and at the end of the film, he gets his mojo. And we get a very similar arc with Captain Marvel in this. No Pussy Pike at all on Discovery. Well, so far, I'm just so mad, I don't know if I can watch any more of that. I'm going to need to cool off on that. I might, stress the word might, do a special edition, either, because I want to get that Discovery done. So I'll probably do a special live stream either, if I can, I don't know, probably Sunday, because I don't normally live stream on Sunday. So I'll probably do a Discovery special on Sunday, because I want to cover it, but obviously the Marvel thing is kind of taking over tonight. I don't care about her directorial credits. I care about how they market the movie. Well, but here's what I was going to say. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there, England. Here's what happens though when you have some nobody directing, is that you have a star that's an Academy Award-winning star and a director who's a nobody. So the star dictates to the director. That is a recipe for disaster every single time. And you need a director that knows how to put stars in their place. And that's a very difficult thing because stars are very egocentric. If Brie Larson is very full of herself, I don't think any of us are going to argue about that, And going up with a relatively meek director means that Brie Larson is going to have too much control on that set. The director, a good director, needs to control and, yes, abuse their actors. And I mean that in a very, very literal way. Good directors abuse their actors. They push them and push them and push them to the breaking point to get that raw emotion out of them. Stanley Kubrick was famous for doing this. People would work with Stanley Kubrick because Stanley Kubrick makes great films, and then after making the film, they would swear they would never work with the man again because he abuses his actors. He would do 25 takes of a scene and then say, okay, now we're going to load film in the cameras. Then he'd do 25 more takes and say, okay, we're warmed up, let's get started now. And then he'd do 25 more takes and he'd say, you know what, we're getting there, maybe eventually. And he would push those actors to the absolute limit, and then you end up with The Shining, right? So a director that knows how to push his actors or her actors is extraordinarily important, and I don't think that this director was in control of that set at all. I think Brie Larson was in control of that set. And then I will never see a movie again, says England. And what? They're going to realize what the fandom menace is just that. You know what? And I would not be... Here's the thing, England. I am not totally opposed to that, okay? Don't get me wrong. And you're right. Nicole says, Brie has no butt. Well, that's true. Matthew says, Brie has no charisma. That is also true. So to quote Rocket. And Brie is the problem of this film. Absolute. But England, here's the thing, and I agree with you on some of the principle here. I absolutely do. I like I said, I probably would have skipped this movie not because of the SJW agenda, but just because it didn't look good to me. If it wasn't for this channel, I'm glad I got to see it, which I didn't think I would ever say that about this film, but I am, and I think that hopefully Hollywood pulls its collective heads out of its ass and realizes that pushing the political agenda is not going to sell tickets. If Captain Marvel is a success at the box office, and I think it will be, it's not going to be a success because of any of the SJW nonsense of Brie Larson's mouth. It's not going to be a success because of the marketing. It's going to be a success despite those things. But we also see people complaining and trying to figure out, wow, ticket sales are down this year in Hollywood. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Have you looked at the crap you guys are putting out? The reason people aren't going to the movies is because your movies are insulting half of your audience. And they don't get that. They think, well, of course everybody is a social justice warrior because that's the only way a sane person could possibly think. You know, they really think that way. And I'm hoping that the declining overall box offices that we've been seeing over the last few years, the fact that Star Wars for the first time bombed last year, that Episode 9 is in serious jeopardy, those things I think are, hopefully will get Hollywood to wake up and realize that they just need to make good movies. Now, Marvel has been making good movies, unfortunately, and I don't know who called the shots as far as the marketing of this film. I don't know. I don't know if it was Feige. I don't know if it was Iger. I don't know where that came from. But the marketing on this film was a disaster, and casting Brie Larson was a disaster, and I have a feeling that both of those were political moves. I hope it didn't come from Feige. That's all I can say about that. Thomas Potts is in the house, says finally home. By the way, for those of you that don't know, Thomas Potts has been in Washington, D.C., and I'm so jealous he actually went to see the original Enterprise. Yes, the self-save Enterprise that they show at the beginning of the current episode of Star Trek Discovery. What an insult that is. But, so the quick rundown, Thomas, I actually enjoyed Captain Marvel. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. The big problem with the film, Brie Larson. Brie Larson was a horrible pick for the part of Captain Marvel. We've been talking a little bit about the marketing, because the marketing obviously had kind of a feminist agenda to it, but that's not the flavor of the film. Yes, the film is a pro-woman, strong woman film, but it's a pro-woman, strong woman film in the same way that films like Aliens is. It's not a pro-woman film by making men dumb, by making men idiots, and by making men evil. It's a pro-woman film by having a strong woman. Nick Fury is not neutered in this film. But number 8 is what he wants, because that's just the kind of guy he is. So who doesn't want to see a little bird of prey improving one of the great films, Excalibur? Oh, I forgot to unmute it. Oh, no, I didn't.
Ariel Natris Oris Bazi Bedhead Juchel Dementa. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
And there it is. And welcome, Thomas Potts. Good to see you. Luke says, Entrick, the director was hired for what? She's not particularly competent. She doesn't have anything interesting in her resume. In short, she was hired because she was a woman. Feminism was here. I would take it one step further. I think she was hired because, I mean, the Big C, if you don't know anything about that series, yeah, she was clearly hired as I think it was a political bone to throw to the SJW crowd. But here's the thing, and this is where maybe it's just me being hopeful, but something deep down tells me that Kevin Feige knew that, okay, Marvel is going to keep pushing Captain Marvel because they've been pushing her in the comics even though nobody wants to read her. They keep wanting, you need to do the feminist thing, right? So he's like, okay, fine, here we go. Let's get a feminist director. Let's get a feminist actress. Let's let them make their feminist film. And it's not a bad film, like I said. I actually enjoyed it. They didn't go over the top with it. However, by marketing it as feminist, by having Brie Larson run her mouth and all that crap, that's hurting the film. And I think that in the long run, now Kevin Feige can sit back and say, yeah, we gave you your bone, and it was a mediocre response. So have a nice day. I'm hoping that that's all it is, because you know what? I don't think that Marvel is interested in not making billions of dollars with their movies. Zachary says, how is Star Wars Episode 9 in jeopardy? Well, not in production jeopardy, but it's in jeopardy, meaning that remember, Solo lost money. Episode 9 may lose money. That would be a disaster for Lucasfilm. That would be a disaster of epic proportions, a disaster that could mean the end of Lucasfilm as we know it. So I absolutely believe that I should say that Lucasfilm is in jeopardy if they don't pull a miracle out of their ass with Episode 9. Because many people are pissed about Episode 8. Oh, yeah, so that's more comment on it. SJW is SFW. Galaxy Killer Base, go out with a bang. She was passable in Kong. That's right, she was in Kong, and I thought she was annoying in Kong. I remember now. Thank you. I did see her in Kong. I think passable as far as, yeah, she played the part. I didn't get upset with her as being a bad actress. I just thought that she was an annoying character in Kong. I remember that now. Thank you for jogging my memory. So I have to stand corrected. I did see her in one thing before this. Watch Brie Larson in Endgame destroying the patriarchy. Thanos. You know what? Here's the thing, and I know that there's a lot of rumor and speculation going on around Endgame. And I'm not taking another shot, Chief Cook. Not right now. Not unless somebody bribes me. But there's been a lot of speculation and rumor about Endgame, and I think that there may be some truth to the idea that I've heard from several different people now that they actually have some of the reshoots of Endgame is to pull back on the Captain Marvel stuff a little bit, because in case people don't warm up to Brie Larson. Enterman says, Anti-Checker, I personally want to see Thanos give her a beatdown so that she fails and requires the help of the Avengers. Well, I don't think that any one Avenger is going to beat Thanos, right? And now, this is, here's the thing. Captain Marvel's power levels are kind of a mystery at the end of this film, because on the one hand, she seems really, really powerful, and on the other hand, she doesn't. And so it's like, wait, what are they trying to say here with her power level? Because I'm not 100% sure on that. Darth Kilhoun says, Hey, Trigger, just got done with my stream. How you doing? Not too bad, Darth. We've been talking about some Brie Larson and Captain Marvel goodness. I will say this, that Brie Larson sucked, but Captain Marvel was actually an entertaining film. How can Thanos be beaten as long as he has the rainbow glove? Well, that is an interesting question, and I don't know how they're going to do it in Endgame. I'm really looking forward to seeing whatever the hell they've tried to pull off in Endgame, because Marvel has surprised me. But in the comic books, Thanos becomes so, and granted, the Thanos in the comic books is very different than the Thanos in the films. Mr. Miles, I'm sorry, the glove still works. I don't care what anybody says. After he snapped his fingers and the glove was all charred, he still used the glove to transport himself away. So no, the glove, just because the glove is physically dinged up, he could easily use the reality stone to fix it. So it's not a big deal. But anyway, in the comic books, Thanos became so enamored with the idea of literally becoming a god that he decided he no longer had need for his corporeal body. So he actually becomes one with the universe and just lets his body sit there as an empty shell on a throne. And while he's doing that, Nebula comes up and snags the glove off of his hand and takes the power herself. Then all the Avengers and the cosmic beings and Thanos himself team up to try and stop Nebula with the Infinity Gauntlet. That's how they did it in the comics. I don't know what they're going to do in Endgame. Anti-Checker, you can have something busted and still work, just not at full power. That's my point. The glove isn't 100% anymore. But you see, here's the thing. The Infinity Stones the glove itself is just a mechanism to be able to hold the stones. So that because remember, you can wield an infinity, think about, oh man, I can't believe it. I'm forgetting his name, even though he was in Ronan the Accuser. If you look at Ronan the Accuser, he got his hands on the power gem and he just stuck it into his weapon and was able to wield it. All the glove is the equivalent of Ronan's weapon. It's just something to hold the stones. So, Thanos literally became Michael Burnham, yes. Luke says, not just transport himself, he also heals himself having a giant mythical axe in his chest. That's very true. That is also very true, thank you, because that would have been a fatal injury if it was not for the gauntlet. He used the Space Stone by itself. He used the Space Stone, and I'm assuming he would have used the Reality Stone to heal himself. So he used at least 2 stones there. And he has all 6 stones. Keep in mind that all you need is 1 stone to be the most powerful being in the universe. So I don't think that... and it's not like he plucked the Space Stone out and then used it. He used the gauntlet. And I think that's an interesting limitation they put on the gauntlet in the film, is that he seems limited to using 1 stone at a time, except for when he's blasting pure energy at Thor. So the MCU has to beat Amy Pond. That is correct. If they did it like they did in the comic books, and I think that would be a cool idea, because notice they have set up that Thanos is very abusive to Nebula. that he doesn't care for her, and he has no qualms about torturing her over and over and over again. And that's what he does in the comic books. In fact, once he has with all the stones, he decides to put her in a state of dying, not dead, but dying. So she constantly is like, feels like she's about to die because she is constantly about to die, but then he keeps her alive. And so she's in utter agony, and he's just doing it for pure amusement. And then, of course, she snags the glove, and the first thing she does is use the glove to reset the universe to everything as it was before he got the sixth stone. Now, if they did that exactly the same way, then it would mean that everybody would come back to life except for Gamora and Vision and Loki and Heimdall. They would all still be permanently dead. Anti-Checker, he cut off what his name's hand, the only one be able, what's his name's hands. We didn't cut him off. It looks like he put melted slag over his hands. He'll only be able to repair the gauntlet. I think he's going to bite him in the ass. No, because he can use the Reality Stone to repair the gauntlet. Keep in mind, the Reality Stone can repair anything. And the Reality Stone coupled with the Power Stone, the Power Stone is really the key to the gauntlet. Because if with the Reality Stone, you'll notice like before he had all 6 stones, he used the Reality Stone on Drax and Mantis, and Drax and Mantis literally fell apart, right? It was kind of a bizarre looking effect when he just made them fall apart into pieces. However, as soon as he leaves, they reassemble. Because the gauntlet without all 6 stones is not universal in nature, so it only affects what's in his immediate vicinity. With all 6 stones, the gauntlet can make permanent changes to everything in the universe, which is why he needed all 6 to snap his fingers and kill half the life in the universe. So I think that as far as repairing the gauntlet, that's easy. All he would need is the Reality Stone to do that, and once he used the Reality Stone to repair the gauntlet, he would have all 6 stones, meaning he can make the repair permanent. So yeah. Let's see. Mr. Miles says, Anti-Tracker, also, can you use the Time Stone to repair anything, even other stones? We saw it. That's true. So the Time Stone could also be used on the gauntlet itself to repair the gauntlet. That is also true. Can the Reality Stone fix Brie Larson's acting? No. I know they're called Infinity Stones, but even they have their limits. So no, Brie Larson's acting is... Actually, I will say this. Well, no, I can't without giving a spoiler. There was a scene where Brie's acting was actually good, but I can't tell you about it without doing a spoiler. So when I do my spoiler review, which will probably be next week, then I'll talk about that a little bit. I don't think he flung into full stone energy at the axe. The gauntlet in normal mode is only harnessing a drop of the full power. Full power scorched the gauntlet. Well, that's an interesting theory on that. We don't really know. I haven't listened to the director's commentary on the film. I should. But honestly, we don't know what the full extent of the gauntlet is. It seemed like, however, when Thanos was holding up his fist and trying to stop Stormbringer, it really did seem like he was using all 6 stones. But we'll have to do an examination of that. And see, and also I think we'll have to see what he does with it in Endgame. What if they pull a twist and Thanos survives Endgame? I wouldn't even call that a twist. I would not be surprised if Thanos survives. He just won't have the gauntlet anymore. And they'll probably do something similar to what they did in the comic books. In the comic books, after the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, they went to the stones. Each of the 6 stones was given to a guardian, and the guardians were known collectively as the Infinity Watch. Now, obviously, in the MCU version, the Time Stone would go back to Doctor Strange. The Soul Stone would go to, or the Mind Stone would go to Vision. The others, I think Drax got one of the stones in the comics. But they could give the stones to, various people to hold on to. I wouldn't be surprised if Captain Marvel got one of the stones. Probably the Space Stone, since she seems linked to it a little bit based on some of the stuff that we see in Captain Marvel, but I'm not going to get into any of that because obviously we'd be getting into spoiler territory. Let's see. What why didn't Thor hit Thanos in the head instead of the chest? Because Thor was pure rage mode. Honestly, that's, and that was a great line from Thanos. You should have gone for the head. Thor should have. He should have kept a level head. But remember, Thor Thanos had just killed Thor's best friend and Thor's brother, and Thor was out for bloody revenge. And Thor thought that Thanos is unbeatable. And so Thor thought he was going into his death. And so he hit him with pure, unadulterated rage, and that's why he got he hit Thanos with the killing blow. He just should have gone for the head, as Thanos said. He was using all 6. You could tell because the light was completely white with some melded colors. Those colors were present. I agree. I think that he did use all 6, Enderman, but I'm going to take a look at I'm going to do some freeze frames on it. I do want to do a full review of the MCU over time because, man, some awesome movies. And a couple that aren't. And boy, believe me, when I get around to reviewing Captain Marvel, will I rag on Brie Larson. I like the movie, but Brie Larson was a train wreck. I feel like they need to go back in time to prevent the snap from ever occurring. Just bring everybody back to life, and a few months later would still leave the world in chaos and ruin. Well, but that would have some lasting effects. And I don't like the idea of going back in time because then you could save everybody. And I don't want everybody saved. I want there to be some lasting repercussions. As much as I love Loki in the MCU, I'm okay with him being dead. As much as I loved Heimdall in the Thor films, I'm okay with him being dead. As much as I like Vision, I'm okay with him being dead. And looking at what kind of repercussions this has on the surviving characters. How is Scarlet Witch going to go on with her life with Vision dead? Right? How is Star-Lord and the rest of the Guardians going to go on without Gamora? Those things can make it interesting if there's some lasting repercussions. If they simply turn back time and make everything happy and peppy at the end of the movie, I will be very disappointed. I really believe that Tony Stark and Steve Rogers are going to die in Endgame. I genuinely believe that. I know that's an easy thing. A lot of people have said that, but I've been saying it for a while. It makes sense. It would be a great way to go out. I think that they're going to die sacrificing themselves to do something that will save the universe. Let's see. Mr. Miles says, Trigger, Thor should have cut off his hand, not his head or his chest. Well, yeah. And actually, I think that the biggest mistake was by Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange, keep in mind, was able to hold his own against Thanos with 5 stones for a significant amount of time. And yet he never did the easiest trick in the book, which would be to, I can't remember the name of the spell, but opening up the portal that he, does this and closing it, cutting off his arm, like he did to what's-his-face, one of the children of Thanos earlier in the same film. Antrucker, who should be in the next MCU movie? Hyperion, Blue Marvel, or the Sentry? I would... Well, I mean, they're already going for Adam Warlock. I think that's going to be good. I want to see... honestly, I want to see the Fantastic Four. I desperately want to see an MCU Fantastic Four. I want to see freaking Dr. Victor Von Doom done right. I want to see this guy right here. This is what I want to see tangle with the Avengers that we have in the MCU. Because this guy will kick their freaking asses all over the place. Do not underestimate Dr. Victor Von Doom. And unlike the pussies over at Fox, they will make Victor Von Doom a freaking foreign dictator instead of a businessman with an American accent. Sorry. He fired a beam of all 6 stones to stop him, which means it could have transported him away either in time or space, turned him into pasta, shatter him, tear his mind or soul apart. Well, except the Stormbreaker is also a fundamental, powerful... it's the most powerful weapon ever created outside of the Infinity Stones. And so maybe Thanos underestimated the power of Stormbreaker. He didn't realize he was going against a cosmic weapon. Because on the surface, it just looks like a hammer. Time travel and multiverses, the 2 ultimate crutches for lazy writers. Yeah, and I don't want them to go there. I want them to have to beat him. Can Thanos snap his fingers and fix Star Trek Discovery? There are limits to the Infinity Stone's power, but yes, I think that if you wiped out Michael Burnham from the timeline, that could fix Discovery. The glove is almost powerful enough to fix Disco continuity issues. Almost. Was it the original plan for Loki to be dead in, was it Thor 2, but the audience test didn't believe he was dead? They made the ending alive. I heard that, but I don't know for sure. But I would not be surprised. Do you think we'll see Venom in the MCU? Unfortunately, no. I don't think Sony's stupid. Venom made $500 million. Venom was a very successful film for Sony. And so they've proven that they don't need Venom in the MCU to make money off of it. And why should they share their money with Marvel? So I think we're going to see Spider-Man in the joint deal for a little while longer. I would like to see Spider-Man and the rest. I want to see all Marvel characters back to Marvel. But unfortunately, that's, Sony's not stupid, so they're not going to give up their Spider-Man characters. I do think that we're going to see the Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, and Galactus in the not-too-distant future, and I cannot wait. I'll tell you, I will watch a dozen Captain Marvel movies to see fricking Galactus versus the Fantastic Four. Warlock and Nova set for next phase. Yeah, I'm not surprised. So, Dr. Anti-Trekker Doom, that is right. Unlike Doomcock, I am an actual doctor. Sorry. Anti-Trekker, assuming the gauntlet power of has magnetic properties, could Magneto have pulled the glove off of Thanos? Only if he caught Thanos off guard. That's the problem. It's not that, notice that with what we saw with Iron Man, Mantis, Star-Lord, Drax, and Spider-Man, they almost got it. And Doctor Strange was there too. But yes, could Magneto, if he caught Thanos with his hand extended like that, and Magneto didn't hold back, used 100% of his power to pull on that gauntlet, then absolutely I think he could have pulled it off of his hand. And if he did, that could have ended the fight a lot faster. Although do keep in mind, and this is confirmed by the Russo brothers, Thanos on his own, without the gauntlet, is still the most powerful dude in the freaking universe. Thanos beating the Hulk at the beginning of Infinity War, and like I said, this is confirmed by the Russos, 0 Infinity Stone power being used by Thanos. Even though he had the Power Stone, he did not use it. He beat the Hulk in a straight-up fair fight. Also, that thing regarding only one stone at a time, he's using 2 stones at one point. He just only needed one to do their task. That's true. I stand corrected because, what it seems like what he would do is he would use the gauntlet to activate 1 or more stones. So depending on what he's doing. Why he would not just always use all 5, I don't know. But yeah, he did. Yes, cast Chris Evans in the new Fantastic Four would be awesome. Here's what I would love to see. Honestly, and unfortunately, I think that Chris Evans' last movie is going to be Endgame, so we're probably never going to see this. But I would love to see Captain America, Chris Evans, meeting whoever they cast as the new Johnny Storm, and have somebody say to them, "Man, you guys kind of look alike," even though they won't look anything alike. I would love that. DJ wants Howard the Duck. Well, you've already had Howard the Duck show up twice now. Antricker, I know how Stormbreaker was powerful. I said that, emphasize it, and yet Thanos knew too. Hence why what he did to the dwarves. Well, I think Thanos knew that the dwarves were capable of making Stormbreaker. I don't think that he necessarily knew that that's what Thor was wielding. Keep in mind that Thanos. This was Thanos and Thor's second round, and the first round, Thor didn't have a hammer at all, but I think that he probably just thought, isn't that cute? He has a hammer. And he might, oh crap, whoa! And I think that's really what happened. I think that he caught him by surprise. Depending on how they're defining the Infinity Stones. If the Infinity Stones are like in the comics, they are literally Infinity Stones, which means that there is no weapon in the world that can overpower them if you use the full power of the stones. Period. Do you think they will reboot X-Men again after Dark Phoenix in June? Absolutely. Actually, there's 2 X-Men films coming from Fox. Dark Phoenix and The New Mutants are still slated for release. After that, the X-Men characters are going to be rebooted into the MCU. That is a done deal. That will happen. And I am all for that because I'm sorry, but the freaking X-Men franchise is one gigantic mishmash of good and train wreck. Good and train wreck. I'm done with the X-Men from Fox. I can't wait to see them in the MCU. But for me, I'll tell you, my number one, as a comic book collector, the Fantastic Four are the what I hold near and dear to my heart. The Fantastic Four are my Star Trek of comics, right? Star Trek will always hold a special place in my heart as far as television and film. Star Trek will always be number one. In comic books, it will always be Fantastic Four. I have every single issue of Fantastic Four from number 25 to the end of the initial run. And I even bought the first issue of the relaunch that happened just last year. I'm only buying the first issue because it sucked, but I just wanted to have it. The Fantastic Four, it will be awesome. I think that the Marvel, the MCU version of X-Men will be awesome because Marvel is not afraid to make them like they are in the comics. He uses the Power Stone twice in the fight against Hulk. I don't remember him actually using the Power Stone in the fight against Hulk, and according to the Russos, he did not. But I would have to rewatch the fight scene. They did the Hulk wrong, though, because the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets, and they did not play that out. Well, he didn't really get a chance because Thanos completely overpowered him. However, and the way they described it is that we should have Punisher in the MCU. We technically do. The Punisher Netflix series is a part of the MCU. The Netflix shows are officially part of the MCU, even though they don't really cross over much. But did they restart New Mutants? Well, New Mutants, the first New Mutants movie will be the only New Mutants movie from Fox. We'll see if Marvel picks up the New Mutants. But speaking of the best sci-fi show to air on TV, have you watched more Stargate? Well, the best sci-fi show to air on TV will always be Star Trek. But yes, me and Mrs. Antitrekker did watch an episode of Stargate today. Which we generally do when I'm eating my lunch. Arrow got canceled, by the way. I'm okay with that. Alex says, RIP entire MCU TV on Netflix. Well, keep in mind, Netflix was just being dicks about it, okay? Those shows were not going to come back on Netflix. Netflix, here's the deal with the whole Netflix thing that everybody's making a big deal about, is that, as most people know by now, Disney is getting very close to launching their own streaming service. Once they do, they're going to put their entire catalog of Disney films on this, including Star Wars films, Pixar films, and Marvel films. And Netflix will no longer be producing anything for Marvel. And so what Netflix did, because they knew that this is going to be the last season of Daredevil, the last season of Jessica Jones, the last season of Punisher and all that. So they just said, yeah, you're canceled, you're canceled, you're canceled, because they want to be able to act like they made the decision. But the truth is, the shows were done. How's Arrow still a thing for this long? Oh, look, it's the Flash. You think the next big bad is a speedster too? Oh, man. Yeah, don't get me started about the CW. They don't know how, the problem is that they get so generic. I really enjoyed the first few seasons of Arrow and The Flash, but then they get really stale really fast because CW only knows one thing. Find something that works and then wash, rinse, repeat until people get tired of it. Thomas throws $11 in there, says, confusing Captain America and Human Torch would have been a pretty good Stan Lee cameo. That would. It's too bad Stan Lee is gone. And by the way, Thomas, I don't know if you heard this, but I'll say it one more time. Regardless of what you think of Brie Larson and Captain Marvel and all that, somebody's going to put it on YouTube, if it isn't already on YouTube. The opening logo for Marvel in this film is the most beautiful, touching tribute to Stan Lee I've ever seen in my life. It literally gave me goosebumps. It gave me chills. I was tearing up. It was incredible to see. And yes, Stan Lee does have a cameo. And I've heard mixed reports on whether or not he has a cameo that was already filmed for Endgame. But But the scene, the opening logo for Marvel is absolutely beautiful. One of the most beautiful things I've seen in film, and it's a freaking studio logo. But check that out. In the meantime, Thomas wants to see Bird of Prey 1, the epic, the incredible, the Bird.
Captain's log, stardate 44307.3. I'm preparing to leave my shuttlecraft for Pentaris 5, where I've been asked to mediate a dispute among the Salinite miners. A contentious group, unfortunately prone to violence. But first, I must deal with a situation of a far more personal nature. What better way to get first-hand experience?
Captain, I'm picking up a general distress signal from Bird of Prey 5.
On screen.
Feel the fire, feel my love inside you so bright. There's the sound and the smell of love on my mind. I'm your toy, come play with me. Say the word now. Wrap your legs around me. Ride me tonight.
My love is a fever, longing still for that which longer nurseth the disease.
I'm a man, I'm a goddess, I'm a man, I'm a virgin, I'm a man, I'm a blue movie, I'm a man, I'm a bitch, I'm a man, I'm a geyser, I'm a man, I'm a little girl, and we'll make love together. This sounds very pedo-ish.
In faith, I do not love thee with mine eyes, for they in thee 1,000 errors see, but 'tis my heart that loves what they despise, who, in despite of view, are pleased to dote. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate.
What? Oh my God.
When I have plucked the rose, I cannot give it vital growth again. It needs, must wither.
Why are you saying these things? Music to make love to an old ladybug.
You wonderfully jealous fool, you.
Wow, well that's basically rape. That is rape as a song. Congratulations. I gotta go turn myself in.
Thank you, Thomas. I do appreciate it. And yes, I think Captain America Stan Lee confusing Captain America and the Human Torch would have been freaking awesome. It's too bad he's gone. Mercer says the X-Men will not work because the connection to the Holocaust is essential. Not necessarily, because they could go on the premise that the mutants have existed since the Holocaust, but they've been keeping on the down low because they've been afraid of persecution. Because one thing that people don't realize is that the Nazis were trying to exterminate mutants as well as Jews and all that. So I think that could actually work. And then they could be coming out now, so to speak, because of the fact that the superheroes are becoming more commonplace. Josh says someone did put the Captain Marvel Stan Lee intro on YouTube. Good. Let me see if I can find it real quick, because man, I tell you, it's tearjerker. It was so freaking beautiful, and I don't even care if Marvel wants to try and strike me for it, because it's that good. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So somebody did a bootleg of it here. So let me bring this up. So let's go full screen, make it somewhat viewable. So notice it's your standard Marvel logo here, but look at this. So you can already see there's Stan, and they're just showing like all these different pictures of Stan from his different cameos. Like there he is from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. There he is from Captain America. And this one from, I think that's Thor Ragnarok there, where he's the haircut guy. So you got all these still images of Stan, but then they take it further and they start showing all the cameos in live action in the logo. It is freaking beautiful. I tell you, like I said, I was just absolutely blown away by seeing all of these cameos from Stan. And there's like this one here is not even a cameo. It looks like it's an interview shot. I see there's one from the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, there's all this stuff. So they show the Marvel Studios logo as always, and then it fades to black like it usually does, but then, thank you, Stan. That is an incredible, beautiful way to send off Stan Lee. That was great. And so I truly felt like that was one of the most heartfelt things I'd ever seen a studio do. Yeah, it's... No, that writing underneath is some kind of subtitles. I'm assuming, based on that, that the theater is in, probably it's in Dubai or something. It looks like Arabic. But yeah. Yes, Thomas, I did see the pictures that you posted. And so since, I'll tell you what, we'll take a quick look at those before I sign off here. But then I am going to have to sign off because it's getting late. But it's been a fun conversation. But let me get Discord up here. So I mentioned this right at the beginning of the live stream. For those of you that didn't know, Thomas Potts was just in Washington, D.C. And among other things, he got to take a look at the Air and Space Museum of the Smithsonian, which if you've never done, if you're in the United States and you can get to Washington, D.C., you owe it to yourself before you die to go to the Air and Space Museum. You absolutely, it's a wonderful thing. But they have a fully restored 8-foot shooting model of the original Enterprise there on display. It's been on display there for decades. I saw it back in the 80s. And but this was before the restoration project, and now it looks absolutely gorgeous. And Resolute says, I'm going to the movie just to see the tribute. It's worth it. I'm telling you. That tribute is worth the cost of admission. And you know what? It's so sad that Stan's gone. But, yeah, that's the most... I mean, you could not ask for a better eulogy than just that. Sucks that they did that on Captain Marvel, not Spider-Man or Endgame. You know what? Here's the thing, Luke, and I don't know. But I would not be surprised if they use that logo for every Marvel movie that comes out this year. I hope they do. I would love to see that for Endgame and for Spider-Man. I hope we do see that. Anyway, let me bring this up. So this is one of the pictures that Mr. Potts took at the Air and Space Museum. You can see a nice shot of the front of the ship. Notice the fine detail in the paint. This is painted on. This is not like, that's, you know, that's all done intentionally. Here's a nice little side view of the ship. Again, very, very, very nice. I'm so jealous. I have not seen it since they put it. Now you can see here for this back shot here that the lights are on. So, and they do turn the lights on, I believe Thomas said 3 times a day. And so again, very, very nice. Nice shot of the underside of the saucer. And then finally, and this is the coup de grace. That's a nice little video with full lights. Look at that. Is that not just the most beautiful thing? And remember, This model was made back in the 60s. This is the original model that they used to film the series. And back then, you couldn't, none of the lights that you see in the show were digital. Everything had to be, and so this is how it looked when it was in the studio and they were filming it. So I absolutely love it. And of course, there's Thomas Potts walking behind the Enterprise. No, I don't know. This random guy. But very cool. Thank you, Thomas, for sharing that. I do truly appreciate it. Space Center Houston is the restored Star Trek Galileo 7. That's cool. Yes, that is the same model that is in tonight's Star Trek Discovery. Thank you for reminding me that Shatner's bassoon. By the way, Shatner's bassoon, where did you come up with that? So there's a video of Kirk's chair being restored in the museum. Oh, cool. What happened to the largest refit model? I don't know. I know that there was a couple of Enterprise A models that were auctioned off at Christie's, but I don't know what happened to the primary shooting model. I really don't. Anyway, though, with that, guys, I am going to wrap it up. I do want to thank you for hanging out with me, and I apologize if I offended any of you with my defense of Captain Marvel, but I gotta say, it was a much better film than I expected, and it's worth seeing. It really is. Yes, Brie Larson sucks, but everything else about the movie is pretty damn good. And so, do give it a shot if you can. If you can't, I do understand, but don't avoid it just because of politics, please. I did, well, okay, DJ, I watched as much as I could stand. I saw what they did there. I am going to watch the whole episode and do a proper review this weekend, I promise. It'll probably end up being a special edition on Sunday because of the fact that I didn't do it tonight, but Captain Marvel took precedence. But again, guys, you're awesome. Thank you for being the best crowd on YouTube, and I absolutely mean that. You guys, you changed lives. You really have. So, yeah. Thomas, what's STDB? Okay. I will show you how offensive is the term. Not bad. Offensive is the term. Now, I've only watched the first, minute and a half of the episode, right? That's all I could bear. And in doing so, I had to drink several drinks because it absolutely pissed me off. So I'll show you. Let me go back to the very beginning, and I'll let you see just the first few seconds of this latest episode of Discovery, and you will see what I mean, and then we'll sign off. This is the most offensive thing they could do to any of us that care about Trek. So we get the CBS All Access logo, whoop-de-whoop.
A ship in trouble making a forced landing, sir.
It comes from the Talos Star Group.
Their call letters check with a survey expedition. My name is...
So yes, they recut. I can't. I can't.
I have got something better.
So Luke is saying, oh, apparently you didn't watch the whole 3 minutes. That's all right, fine. I will watch 3 minutes. I will watch 3 minutes. Let me mute the audio so that I don't get DMCA'd. Bastard. All right. All right, so we already saw that they butcher the original Star Trek. And then the biggest the biggest insult of this first part, Thomas, is that at the end they show this close up of Jeffrey Hunter as Christopher Pike, and then they fade to Anson Mount as Christopher Pike to kind of say, "Yeah, see, it's the same guy, right?" Ugh. All right. Pike's giving his personal log. So his personal log, he gives his personal log basically saying that he hopes that Section 31 doesn't find Burnham before he does, even though if you saw last week's episode, you know that she turned themselves into Section 31 and then busted out. Why the hell not? So then we see a Section 31 ship with Georgiou and Leland. Wow. So some Vulcan admiral is now telling that there's like 4 Starfleet admirals giving orders to Section 31 about how they have to catch Burnham, and they said now she's apparently committed another act of mutiny. So they doubled down on the whole never been a mutiny in Starfleet. Well, apparently Spock's sister did it twice. So you're right. The admirals do seem like a crime syndicate here. What did Bird of Prey 5 rant about? I don't know. Did he rant about something? No. And so let's see here. So Philippa is telling them to just tell every starship to hunt down Burnham except Discovery. Yeah, what's with the admirals are just evil now? All right, so that was stupid. All right, so I don't know what I'm looking for here in the first 3 minutes. Honestly, I'm not seeing much other than some setup about, everybody's looking for Burnham. Oh, yes, Michael always has a logical motivation for actions. That's what Ash has to say. The crazy half Klingon. So, yeah, so they're trying to trick Discovery for some reason. But remember one thing. What about the general order involving Talos 4? Well, you know, that doesn't count apparently. Well, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with that. So I don't know what were you guys, because I'm 4 minutes and 34 seconds in, and I don't see anything. They haven't. Well, no. Here's the thing, Amy. This is several years after the Enterprise went to Talos 4, so that general order should be on the books. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe Burnham will write general order. Was it general order 12 or whatever it is, or general order 4? All right, so the trope of I'm responsible for all the lives on the ship. Yeah, this is going to be painful, I can tell. But I get a feeling that I get a feeling that, like before, I'm going to probably think the episode is okay, except for when Burnham's on screen. The Borg Ferengi alignment. Stop it. All right, guys, I am going to wrap it up because it is very late and I need to get some rest. But thank you for hanging out with me, and see you on the other side of whatever.
Soon I'm gonna be